We thought for the anniversary of January 6th, we should take a look at some January 6th stories. So Harry Dunn, who's probably been the most visible of the Capitol Police from January 6th, he has left the force now, and he's decided to run for Congress. Now, I got to say, his announcement ad was like, budgeted by Robert De Niro, because that is not a cheap ad. So let's take a look. Ex-Capitol Police officer Harry Dunn announces congressional run in Maryland. Harry Dunn, a former U.S. Capitol Police officer who has extensively spoken out about the violence he and other law enforcement experienced on January 6th, 2021, announced Friday that he is launching a campaign for Congress in Maryland. Dunn is running to succeed retiring Rep. John Sarbanes, a Democrat who represents Maryland's 3rd congressional district located west of Baltimore. He left the Capitol Police Force late last year, ending a 15-year career. Quote, on January 6, 2021, I did my duty as a police officer and as an American and defended our nation's capital from violent insurrectionists, unquote, Dunn said in a statement announcing his candidacy. Today, I'm running for Congress because the forces that spurred that violent attack are still at work, and as a patriotic American, it is my duty to defend our democracy.
Wait, it gets funnier. How do you defend it? I didn't see him fight nobody.
Well, I think he must have been on the insurrection side of the building.
Okay.
Because we had a lot of footage come out since he first made these claims.
Okay.
He really he wrote an entire memoir off of this, which I'm sure he got paid very well for. And he's kind of been the person they like to invite on The View and MSNBC when they want somebody to really gin up outrage about that day.
Crying guy, the guy who broke down in tears on CNN. I know he's like the new.
Well, he's definitely, well, that guy's eating out of his dish, but he's kind of the king of the barbarian sacked the Capitol mouthpieces.
Oh, he should run for office.
He claims, and he's a very sympathetic. Yeah, exactly. He's a very sympathetic figure, and he claims that people were slurring him, and I'm not going to say that didn't happen.
Oh, I don't believe anything.
But as everybody knows, a friend of show, I think I can say, Tucker Carlson got or frenemy, maybe frenemy.
He's a frenemy?
Is he a frenemy of the show? I don't know.
On what level? No,
he did.
He is now.
Thanks a lot, Russ. No, what'd you say?
Why, yeah. Jimmy?
The friend of the show.
Who is this guy doing your show this week? Who is he? He couldn't just stop at friend of show.
Couldn't stop at friend of show. Why am I friend of me? What did I ever do to you?
What did I do to you? I gave you a lot of my time. I set aside. I had a whole stack of Swanson fried chicken ready to go, and I put it all down to go on your show. Okay, so he
300-pound bison walked right past my front door. Could have hunted it. Gave it away. Let it walk right away.
Instead, I gave you my time very generously. All right, so this is everyone knows this among other things got Tucker kicked out of Fox News. It was payback for Billy Bats and a lot of other stuff. So let's see a little clip of his masterwork here.
Taken as a whole, the video record does not support the claim that January 6th was an insurrection. In fact, it demolishes that claim. And that's exactly why the Democratic Party and its allies in the media prevented you from seeing it. By controlling the images you were allowed to view from January 6th, they controlled how the public understood that day. They could lie about what happened, and you would never know the difference. Those lies had a purpose. They created a pretext for a federal crackdown on opponents of the Uniparty in Washington.
Our office wanted to ensure that there was shock and awe, that we could charge as many people as possible.
The first thing you notice from viewing the full video record of January 6th is just how many people entered the Capitol building that day. Hundreds and hundreds of people, possibly thousands, over the course of about 2 hours. The crowd was enormous. A small percentage of them were hooligans. They committed vandalism. You've seen their pictures again and again. But the overwhelming majority weren't. They were peaceful. They were orderly and meek. These were not insurrectionists. They were sightseers. Footage from inside the Capitol overturns the story you've heard about January 6th. Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the Speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol.
Okay, so
And they love cops, by the way. The most cop-loving crowd.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Harry Dunn, he actually said that somebody was carrying a Blue Lives Matter sign, and he confronted him about it, and the person said, "I'm doing this for you." Now, I don't want to. And that's what he said happened. Now, I don't want to say categorically that he's lying about that. Maybe
I'll say it. I think
maybe he was on the rioting side of the building, and the other side of the building was where the peaceful protests were. But there's one thing I was able to run down, because you can't say what his experience was. We haven't seen that footage as far as I know. But there's one thing here that I was actually able to run down a fact check on. Okay. So he gave testimony that got a lot of play about his experience to the January 6th committee. So let's hear what he had to say.
Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment of my time to ask for a moment of silence for my fallen colleague, Officer Brian Sicknick, who died from injuries he sustained in the line of duty defending the capital of our beloved democracy.
What is that? Sicknick. He died from injuries that he sustained. Now this was testimony given in July of 2021. This was not testimony that was given the following week. Officer Sicknick suffered strokes and died of natural causes, DC medical examiner says. So I don't see any way you can interpret that other than that he's lying. I can't imagine that he lives in a cave where they don't deliver the news, and he had not heard about this result before he made that claim under oath.
He's running for office. Of course he's lying. Look at I remember these two assholes. We covered this a long time ago because the name Sicknick really stands out. Boy.
Yes.
And they were saying he got beaten with a fire extinguisher.
I remember that. You're right. This is month. So this is, you can see the date on this, April 19th, 2021. This is CNN. This is not some radical lefty outlet telling you that the medical examiner found he died of natural causes. So there is absolutely no way in July of 2021 he did not know that when he not only made this statement, even you want to be as generous as you can be and say in the heat of the moment he said it. No, that was very planned. I want to have a moment of silence. That's not spontaneous. That's how he opened his testimony. So
wait a minute.
You're intentionally lying to people.
Next, you're going to tell me that Casey chick from the Trump threw ketchup on the wall testimony of January 6th. Who's that girl they trotted out? They used to work for Trump, and she said he grabbed the driver.
Is this the one with the cat named Vagina?
No, that's the one that won the settlement. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You know, Keaton?
Casey something.
There was somebody, I don't know the person's name, but I know what Kurt's talking about. There was a story that Trump tried to go back to the Capitol. He was being driven somewhere, and he as the story goes, he reached across the car and tried to grab the steering wheel, right, to force him to go where he wanted him to go. That's
she heard the Secret Service talking, and then the
Cassidy Hutchinson.
Cassidy,
I see. All right.
So the guy looks like dude Cassidy Hutchins immediately. As soon as you say he's running for office, obviously he's going to lie because all the other cops had a different story than that.
Okay, so look. Not only don't we traffic in identity politics, except when we're checking out churches in South Carolina, we do not traffic in conspiracy theories either. But I got to ask, okay, so now you've seen the man lie. There's no question that he consciously set out to
He's a big liar.
To not only lie, but to put out a very emotive, very emotional kind of lie. He's got tears in his eyes talking about the officer. He's traumatized.
I'd rather watch John Fetterman try to talk.
So you know, you hear the word psyop a lot in this line of work, and I don't like to overuse it, but if you look at his campaign ad, wow! Not only did he get a lot of money for that book, somebody gave him a lot of money for this ad. And this is a race. This is not like a race where it's him and another guy. There's 5 Democrats running for this open seat, but somebody really wants him to win. So
on this day, my role was as a Capitol police officer. I'm Harry Dunn, and that meant putting aside who I am,
Old man.
a father, and longer a Democrat, because I swore an oath.
All right. So understand, for people who are not involved in any way in this business, what you're looking at here, that costs a lot of fucking money. An ad like this is not like, hey, this is Harry Dunn. I'm in my kitchen. I'm running for Congress. This is expensive. This is a set, actors, camera work.
Yeah.
This is a very, very slick ad. A very expensive
You can't compete
ad.
with this in a Democratic primary. January 6th Capitol Police officer. Who these gonna beat? They're not gonna beat him. What are you, fucking volunteer desk clerk at the fucking Planned Parenthood? You can't beat a Capitol. You can't beat Capitol Police January 6th story. You got no chance. No chance.
Is he gonna fight these 80-year-olds?
He's got it in the bag. This guy's got it in the bag. Is there anyone who has an easier time getting laid than the January 6th Capitol Police officers in like shit Libby neighborhoods of Washington, D.C.? They must clean up, man.
Probably. You're probably right. You're probably right. Especially
like Kyle Rittenhouse at like CPAC. You know what I mean? Like a perfect story. Kyle Rittenhouse. Nobody's got a better story at CPAC than Kyle Rittenhouse. Went to a Black Lives Matter rally with an AR-15, shot 3 Jews, got away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that. You can't beat January 6th Capitol Police. No way.
All right, so let's
protect our Constitution, to protect our democracy. It's what allowed me to protect some members of Congress who I knew were bigots, who helped fan the flames that started all of this.
All it is.
I put country above self. The problem is, a lot of them didn't. Some of the same people who stood behind us when we protected them went back on the floor of Congress and stood behind Trump. They voted to acquit him. And worst of all, they denied the violence and trauma that led to the death of some of my fellow officers.
What?
Okay, so again, it's the if you keep repeating a lie,
George Santos
it becomes the truth.
Drift.
You got Biden saying it in his speech that in a slicker way than that, but they're just going to keep repeating that police were killed on that day until because and if you poll libs, I'm sure they love to point out when the Fox News audience believes something false that they heard again and again. They're exactly the same way. You ask them, were police killed on January 6th? I promise you a majority of them will tell you
Kyle
yes.
Rittenhouse, I couldn't believe the level of where I'm like, did you watch any of the tape? No, I watched the trial, which no, you didn't.
Right.
You didn't sit through the trial. You mean you were told what to, and you purposely didn't look at it on purpose because you hate that kid's too round of a face. You don't like face you want to hit with a skateboard. Well, he fair and square.
Well, Jerry Lewis used to do a telethon for the round-faced, so they get discriminated against.
Rittenhouse shoots better than cops. Better than this guy.
That's why Keaton always keeps a beard, and it kills the roundness a little bit. It makes it a little less symmetrical.
Does he have a mustache
little more
too,
organic?
Or just beard? I can't see from my angle.
He's got the whole thing.
Oh, good. Okay.
He's got the whole
I was
thing.
afraid you had
He's got the nose and glasses are a Groucho Marx kit. They got a little like experimental jazz band going here.
I had another role to play. I used my voice to
so you see, everybody likes to have him on.
Good trouble. And a few weeks ago, I left the force after more than 15 years of service, so that today I can announce I'm running for Congress. We can't ever let this happen again. And you've heard it from Trump himself. He is hell-bent on finishing what he started this day. I'm stepping into a new role today, but I can't do it alone. I believe every one of us has a role to play in this fight. So join me. We've got a democracy to protect.
Yes,
Queen.
Oh,
we do.
Yes, Queen.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh,
yeah, no, they got a pretty decent jazz band there to do the soundtrack.
Oh, that beefy officer.
No, I promise you, you're right. You can't beat this guy. You cannot beat this guy in any kind of a blue district. You're gonna be stuck with this motherfucker running cover for the establishment for the next 25 years.
Wait, Who's he running for Congress for? What district?
It's a district in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
It's a district in Maryland. There's a retiring Democrat. He's just going to go up there. He's going to do all of the January 6th talking points. He's going to do all the Donald Trump talking points. No matter who wins in this election,
he's an ambitious woman.
Keaton's probably right. He's unbeat. Who's going to beat him? Who's going to beat this guy?
He's ambitious.
Obviously, there's a lot of money there.
Yeah, get out of here.
What's that?
No shot.
No.
A plus size, ambitious woman like that. Yeah, I think he'll go pretty far.
He's going to go far. We're going to be stuck with him. He's going to be like the smart the smart squad member. Watch. He's going to wind up
Jamal Bowman.
He's going to wind up in the squad. Watch. Because he says he's for
president. He's going to be on the presidential ballot in November.
Let's see if he supports Israel first.
That's what they're going to do.
I don't think he says he's for Medicare.
I'll bet he better give deep-throated support of Israel.
Come see us do a live stand-up show. We'll be in Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Boston, Massachusetts, and we're going to Europe. Do you live in Europe? We're going to be there. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.